Well, good evening, Sigma Race fans. We are here tonight at Evergreen here in Monroe, Washington, to part of the doubleheader here in Washington State for the Sigma Cup Series here tonight and tomorrow night. Of course, Monroe here, and then Moses Lake Motorplex tomorrow. It'll be an exciting one. Our first ever points-paying race at the home of Sigma Racing. Moses Lake Motorplex should be a good one. But before then, we got to go through Evergreen first. Monroe, a house that's been dominated by the Washingtonians so far. We'll see how they fare here tonight. Front row, you've got Taden Bergeron with yet another pole. I want to say that's pole number 6, perhaps, for Taden Bergeron this year. And alongside of him, Washington native there, Al Bunch in second. Next row back, you've got Cooper Dwight and Brian DeBlank, followed by Ewan Army and Finlay Herwig, Alex Crowther and Wyatt Wilkinson, Sebastian Torres and Chaz Chadwick, Jacob Schengle and Tom Cording, followed by Luis Rodriguez and Tasha Wright. Then it is Lynn Farrell and John Hagan, Tyler Schengle and Bradley Ream, and Monty Schengle and Tyler Aspinall, Craig the Void with Louis Trost, Lucas Holmes, and Tim Cording, Fireball Robert alongside Trevor Vaden, Kara Schengle, and last race's winner, Preston Kundo, Jimmy Logano alongside Braden Varga, who also took victory at Bristol last week, part of the doubleheader at Bristol, Chad Hertenstein and Carson Bowers, followed by Kellen Relic and Liz Schengle. With the tail end of the field, Brandon Butler the second and Ralph Oberstadt. Brandon Butler proving that he's not the best at qualifying, but you look out, he's going to make his way through the field here more than likely.
Touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
This being a short track, it's definitely a quicker race. 337 laps might seem like a long time, but when they're turning the laps here at 20 seconds apiece, could go pretty quickly here without too many holdups. We'll see. But of course, the Washington doubleheader kicks off here tonight for Washington, and then we boogie our way down to Moses Lake for the second half of this doubleheader here, Thursday and Friday. Get ready to go. Pace cars off, and they're rolling here tonight. Green flag waves. We're off and racing here tonight in Evergreen. Already off to the early lead. It's going to be Taden Bergeron getting around Al Bunch there. Cooper Dwight up into second. Ewan Army moving in to the picture as well. 3 wide in the background. That could spell trouble. Finley's in the middle there with Alex Crowther on the low side and Brian DeBlank on the outside. They settle down, but it looks like 3 wide a little bit further back. Even more so. So it's been 13 races, 13 different winners this year. We have not yet seen a repeat winner here in 2026, 16th anniversary of Sigma Cup Racing. And we'll see if that trend can continue here tonight as they run right now. Your top 3 are all winners this season. Taden Bergeron took home the victory at Portland. Cooper Dwight from Daytona, and Ewan Army at North Wilkesboro. Al Bunch, the first driver there in the top 5 without a win, as well as Alex Crowther right behind him, also winless this season. Long race here tonight. It's going to take a while for things to shake out, and we'll really see who the contenders are here. Al Bunch himself is no stranger to victory lane here in Monroe, Washington. He took the win here just a couple of years ago, actually, 2024 now. We saw Dalton Scott win it here last year, and that was, they were both in a Jaguar at that time. funny trend that's developed is the champion has gone on, well, the winner of this race has gone on to win the championship last 2 years, between Al Bunch doing it in 2024 and Dalton Scott winning it in 2025, winning this race and the championship. We'll see if that's a situation this year. It's going to obviously take a while before that becomes a reality, since we're only on race 14 of 42. We're at this point officially 1/3 of the way through the season. Race 14, third would be race 28, and then 14 more races from race 28 puts us to the last race of the year. So a lot of people probably did not expect to have 13 different winners in the first 13 races. That in its own is an anomaly that has only been matched once prior years. Back in 2012, when we had 15 different winners in the first 15 races. When you have drivers like Al Bunch, that's been held winless so far this year. Brian DeBlanc, also a stout contender, has been held winless. Tasha Wright, we saw her go on a tear last year, winning 2 of the last 5 races. And so now, kind of makes you wonder when they will show up this year. Could it be soon or maybe later? Throwing with that mix of 13 races, 13 different winners, we've had multiple first-time winners this year, which is also a fascinating stat that I don't think we've seen the likes that we have this year before in quite some time. It's always pretty cool when you get some new race winners, drivers that get a chance to enjoy reap the benefits of victory, Well, so far, fastest lap belongs to Tasha Wright, a 20.666, and she's currently running in 12th there, just ahead of Brian DeBlanc and Monty Shangle. Glenn Farrell up into the top 10. He's fighting for all the positions he can gain here. But yeah, you do got to imagine that the Washington drivers kind of want to keep that trend in their ball court. 9 of the 11 races we've hosted here has been won by someone born and raised in Washington State. Pretty wild, especially since this is a home track on home soil for the Washingtonians. Well, same song, different verse for Taden Berggren. Pole position and laps led seems to be the new trend for the 43 team this year, as they have constantly set it on the pole week in and week out. They've led most laps in multiple races this year, and have only converted it over to 1 win. And obviously it's still very early in the race here tonight, but he's doing as much as he can to try and set himself up for a good run here tonight. The problem with being the leader at a short track like this is you're going to be dealing with lap traffic first. You will become, you'll be the top the running order and the first to actually interact with lap traffic as they come at you, which can put you in some touchy situations if you get caught up in a wreck or trying to maneuver through the lap traffic. It's never easy. Just ask the likes of Al Bunch, who's been up front leading laps before and gets taken out racing in the lead. It happens, unfortunately, and it's not pretty. But there's only so much you can do about getting out of the way and avoiding making contact with the lappers as they are holding you up around the racetrack. new fast lap now belongs to John Hagan in the 88 machine. We try to find him in the running order here, way back. 3 wide right there as Lynn Farrell's dropping backwards, unfortunately. The 68 looks like got some side damage there. Oh, wow. Well, it was an almost caution, but no caution comes out for an almost wreck. That's how he ended up with the side damage there. Man, it's Taden Berggren stinking up the show right now. 30 laps led from the front of the field. Cooper Dwight up to second, and then you have Ewan What Army in third. Three winners this season on 3 very different disciplines of racing. Taden Berggren obviously won on the road course at Portland. Cooper Dwight won at the Super Speedway of Daytona, and Ewan What Army won on the short track of North Wilkesboro. So Ewan What Army kind of has the upper arm here when it comes to short track racing. Yeah, so just I guess a quick update. The reason things didn't work out the way it was supposed to here tonight was I tried to use the All-Star mod in NR2003 to try and do the 2 heat races. Well, the first heat race seemed to work right, and I was losing track of time, so I had to fast forward through it. And then the game started crashing when I started heat number 2, and it was just it was a whole ordeal. So I was able to super sim 2 nearly identical runs of what would have been the heat races, and that set our field through the heat races here tonight. It wasn't the way I intended it, wasn't the way I was hoping for it, but at least we were able to figure out who was locked into the main event here tonight. Most specifically, Finley Herwig and John Hagan, Trevor Vaden were locked in through the first official heat that went without a hitch. And then the second heat, after finally getting the game to cooperate and not crash on me anymore, was able to super sim, and the winners in that heat included the likes of Tim Cording in the 54 machine, 85 of Brian DeBlanc, and the 3 of Ralph Oberstadt to join the field here tonight for the main event at Evergreen. That was really the only hiccup. Got a late start and all that fun stuff, so tried to sprint through the qualifying heats just so that we can get into the main event a little bit quicker, and game crashes, all the fun stuff of a 20-plus-year-old game. So 300 laps to go. Laps have been dominantly held at the front by the 43 of Taden Berggren, your pole setter. Yes, I think so. Since the 3 made it in, he was the only one on the outside looking in. The 55 is in the field. The 30 is in the field. So, yeah, there's Tom Cording in the 30. The 3 just a little bit further ahead of Ralph Oberstadt. So we got another damaged car here. That is the 9 of Braden Varga that gets his left side smashed in. As we try to find where it happened. Very first laps of the race. He was already back in 30th, so that's unfortunate telling sign. We missed this from the start of the race, obviously. Nearly four wide. Yeah, that's where it went wrong. The 4 wide with Tim Cording in the 54 machine on the high side there. Way back on lap 3. It's what got Louis Tross. It's what got Kellen Relic. And the 9 of Braden Varga. But they continue onward. Still all but the 50 running. Liz Schengle with a gearbox failure on the 50 machine. Tim Cording in the 54. You got Craig the Void in the 0 car. 21 of Chad Hertenstein. The 55 of Luis Rodriguez. The 16 of Monty Schengle. You have Finley Herwig, Wyatt Wilkinson, Brian DeBlanc, Bradley Ream, Fireball Robert, and Tasha Wright with a 9th at the moment. Tyler Schengle in 8th. Alex Crowther 7th. Jacob Schengle 6th. Sebastian Torres 5th. Al Bunch 4th. Then it's 3rd, Ewan Wood Army 2nd, Cooper Dwight, and Taden Berggren, your race leader. Let us look and see what the fuel window is here tonight at Monroe. 153 laps, so not quite a 1 or 2 stop race. Or not a 1 stopper, it's definitely a 2 stopper here today. Taden is closing in on some of the lap traffic ahead here. And that might make things interesting with 2nd and 3rd place looming in the background. I find it simply amazing how dominant Taden Berggren has been this year. So rolling into tonight, he already had 6 poles. Go ahead and add a 7th pole to his name here tonight. He has led 514 laps. That is actually equated for 19% of the laps led already through a third of the season. Those are some high numbers. And already up front leading tonight, that might look a little bit more like 22% of all laps led by the end of this evening if he can hold it here for the majority of tonight's race. It's crazy. No one is even in the same zip code on the lap led counter as him. At 19% laps led, the only guy that's close, or I should say, it looks like it's a tie between Monty Schengle and Tasha Wright. So not just the guy of Monty Schengle at 7% laps led. 7% laps led for Tasha as well. It looks like she's led 2 extra laps though. So Tasha actually the official 2nd highest in laps led count. But that pales in comparison to the 514 and counting that Taden Berggren has already racked up. And here he is closing in on lap traffic here. It'll make his work a little bit harder. Yeah, so far, not much for drama at the front of the field. 58 of 58 laps led by Taden Bergeron at the moment. Cooper Dwight, Ewan Woodarmy, Al Bunch. Sebastian Torres, 5th place. He's 3rd in the points. Very good run for the rookie here, filling in the seat that was previously vacated by Jacob Shangle. And then you have Jacob right there in 6th. Alex Crowther in 7th. Tyler Shangle 8th. The 7-car number is 8th. Then it's Tasha Wright, Fireball Robert, KBM duo there. Bradley Ream and Brian DeBlanc. Wyatt Wilkinson and Lucas Holmes, with Finley Herwig making the move to get up to 14th there on Lucas Holmes. 16 for 16, that's Monty Shangle. Mid-pack here tonight, and the rest of your lineup as is. Taden Bergeron still racking up those laps led. Here he is, catching up to Kellen Relic. In the Pittsburgh Penguins Dodge Charger there for Kellen Relic Racing. Taden Bergeron's going to make quick work of him here. Dive bombs into turn 3. On the exit of turn 4, that 43 machine is going to get by him. So yeah, the big challenge here tonight is definitely going to be pit stops. If things continue to stay green the way it's looking like it could, pit stops are going to be pivotal here today. Usually when you go into pits, you lose about 2 laps here to the folks that stay out. So it's a tough window to find yourself making green flag pit stops on any short track for that matter. And for those at the front of the field, they may have a bit of an advantage as they're pitting first from the highest advantage on track. They might be able to only lose 1 lap in the grand scheme of things, but if you're kind of in the secondary group a little bit further back, you're more than likely going to go about 2 laps down on green flag pit stops here today. We typically see a varied amount of cautions here at Evergreen. Typically pretty good at getting some long green flag runs though too, so it's kind of a mix between cautions and green flag runs. Well, we're slowly approaching the 1/3 mark here today. Like I said, laps go by quickly here at Evergreen. 337 laps could be done pretty quickly here today at 20 seconds apiece. Yeah, so you'd be looking at about 1 hour and 45, 50 minutes for the duration of today's race. So very much within under the 2-hour window mark if we stay caution-free for the entirety of this run here today. Tomorrow's going to be fun. Moses Lake Motorplex, I have been building up the hype for that one. I'm so excited that we will start building a record book at the racetrack we built for the series. Monroe, definitely a neat one to have on the calendar, but only 36 stalls is kind of a bummer. But it still has a home on the calendar because it is a home track in some form or another to me and the other fellow Washingtonians, as it's one of the kind of the biggest NASCAR funded racetracks that we have over here in Washington State. The NASCAR weekly series is that they host there, and all the other local short track racing action you can get. It's a little bit further for me to travel over there. It's about 4 to 5 hour travel for me to get to this racetrack in particular versus Tri-City Raceway, which is just 15 minutes down the road from me. More like 5 minutes if you're beating traffic. So, which is what I'm currently working on, is building Tri-City Raceway. I'm excited to get that one unveiled, hopefully before the end of the year, and we can work it into the schedule next year, kind of like this, Evergreen and possibly Tri-City Raceway as another Washington-based track that you can see in the Sigma Racing Series. Not very many NASCAR series do you get to see multiple tracks from Washington State, and we're starting to build that database, get us some more tracks for the home track drivers, especially a lot of Washington talent out there. But when we start bringing up all the states and stuff, you can't forget the guy who's leading this race, who is from Nebraska. Tadenberger, a grizzled veteran at this point. He's been at it for the last 3 years here in the Cup Series, and he's finally got it dialed in. Him and his teammate, both the 42 of Brandon Butler II, have been dialing it down and fighting for wins here this year. Brandon Butler's a race winner as well. He got the win just a couple weeks back, and he's already climbed up to 42nd here tonight, or not 42nd, 22nd in the 42 machine. Chad Hertenstein in 17th, Monty in 16th still. Brian DeBlank making a pit stop here. Let's see. Brake failure, that's a tough one. Having a brake failure at a short track is often detrimental. We'll see if he can get it repaired. Just another tough break in a long line of tough breaks for BD. Looks like he's gonna get some service done and maybe get back out there, but still not ideal by any means. No cautions so far here tonight. 90 laps led all by Taden Berggren at the moment from pole position. He's continuing to rack up the bonus points. He does not have the points lead. That belongs to his teammate, Brandon Butler II. But Taden not too far behind, sitting in about 4th in the points. And his teammate, Brandon Butler, having a kind of a rough go of it here tonight. James Fireball Robert sits 2nd in the points, 4 points back from Brandon Butler II, and Sebastian Torres 3rd at 90 points out of the lead, while Taden Berggren is a full 133 points out from the lead. Quite the disparity in points this year already, as there's very big gaps throughout the running order. So much inconsistency amongst all the drivers out there. The only drivers that have really been consistent has been James Fireball Robert and Brandon Butler II, who have each secured 7 top 10s. The only other driver that's had some semblance of consistency in the top 10 category is Jimmy Logano with 6, Preston Kundo and Cooper Dwight with 5. But they're deeper in the points because their bad races are actually even worse than those that are leading the points. The wins are valid, as your top 3 in points are, well, actually your top 4 in points are race winner this season. That goes to show you that the wins are kind of fairly balanced, at least in favor of position to the point standings. But definitely a lot of races left to go this year. That could shuffle up. You can still be a driver with 0 wins, fight for a championship. Doesn't matter sometimes. You just have to be consistent and keep it clean. Well, 1/3 roughly now through the race. Taden Berggren's led all the laps here tonight. 2nd place is Cooper Dwight, and 3rd place, Ewan Wood Army. The rest of the field at this point may be kind of hoping for caution to help stack things back up, as Taden Berggren is just out there on a leisurely cruise, leading all the laps here tonight. Well, 103 laps in, 234 laps to go. We're about 50 laps short from green flag pit stops at this point. Jimmy Logano in 31st. He's the last car on the lead lap. He's going to be defending against Tadenberger in here shortly. 29th place is Ralph Oberstadt as he's battling it out there with Braden Varga for position. Tom Cording, John Hagan, and Trevor Vaden. John Hagan fastest lap in the race at a 20.636, and he's 27th in the field, so not a great night by any means, but fast lap is a fast lap. Tim Cording right there in 25th. Kara Shangle in 24th. Preston Kundo, your race winner last week at Bristol. Not showing the same precedence here tonight on a short track just like last week. Craig the Void and Lynn Farrell right there under a blanket. Tyler Aspinall and Brandon Butler the second, followed by Chaz Chadwick, Tyler Shangle, and Monty Shangle still holding on to a 16th here. Tasha Wright, Luis Rodriguez, Brian DeBlanc, and Lucas Holmes. But how about that? Chad Hertenstein picking him off one by one as he's moved his way up to 12th now. That 21 machine making some moves. It looks like he's going to make another position gain here on the 78 of Bradley Ream. So keep your eye out on that teal number 21 Makita machine as he could be trying to figure out a way to move to the front. Finlay Herwig in the top 10, Fireball Robert, Wyatt Wilkinson, Alex Crowther. And then it's Al Bunch in 6th, Sebastian Torres in 5th, Jacob Shangle on the move now up to 4th. 3rd place, Ewan What Army. 2nd place, Cooper Dwight, and your race leader, Taden Bergeron. But there are some movers we got to keep our eyes on. It looks like definitely the 60 of Jacob Shangle making some moves, and even the 21 of Chad Hertenstein. Keep your eye on him. He can make his way up into the top 10 here shortly and start fighting for possibly a top 5 here tonight. For me, I'm excited because it's opening season at my local short track at Tri-City Raceway. The Apple Cup this week, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night, we'll get to watch Keelan Harvick race here in Tri-Cities, Washington. And then Sunday, it'll be the big one, the Apple Cup, the 200-lap event at Tri-City Raceway. Worth every minute of the racing action. Obviously, in NASCAR side of things, they're racing in Bristol this week, so it'll be interesting to see if they've got the right tire compound for Bristol this year, as it seems to have been a problem the last couple years when they get there and the tires do not cooperate for anything at all that they're dealing with. So hopefully no tire dramas. That would be the worst. Make a move getting around Wyatt Wilkinson for 10th place. Wilkinson drops from 9th back to 11th as Chad Hertenstein on the inside line gets around him as well. Still not a whole lot of drama at the front of the field. Taden Bergeron looking to try and put Jimmy Logano a lap down. Cooper Dwight, Ewan What Army 2nd and 3rd. Followed by Jacob Shangle and Sebastian Torres. Al Bunch in 6th. Brian DeBlanc is 34th, couple laps down. Alex Crowther in 7th. Well, 220 laps left to go here tonight. It has been held by Taden Berggren this whole time. 117 laps under his belt here tonight and counting. 0 cautions, no yellow flags yet. Well, it has been a very heavy follow the leader affair here tonight at Evergreen. 128 laps, all of which have been led by that 43 machine of Taden Berggren. But not for long. Look at, here comes the 41 of Cooper Dwight. Lap traffic of the 85. Brian DeBlanc gets around the 43. Taden Berggren now under attack for the lead. That is second place, Cooper Dwight, and even third place, Ewan What Army, right there in the mix. Some of the first drama we've actually seen for the lead here tonight, as Taden Berggren not being able to get around Jimmy Logano here. Cooper Dwight and Ewan Wood Army right there knocking on the door. So as already mentioned, 13 different winners in our first 13 races of 2026 here. And all three of those drivers leading the way have a race win this year. So they are seeking to be the first multi-winner on the season. And there we go, green flag pit stops on the undercut. Cooper Dwight comes in first. Taden Berggren staying out. As already highlighted, they will likely lose 2 laps under green flag pit stops here if they're not careful. But if everyone is able to shuffle through the pit stops here today, should shuffle back around to them not being in so much disarray. But now, new leader. Ewan Wood Army stays out. Taden Berggren pits there on lap 133. We'll see if Wood Army decides to keep running here for a little while. He's going to stay out another lap, it looks like. This puts him in a very unique situation that if a caution falls, the rest of the field kind of in the danger zone at the moment, as Ewan Wood Army could very well be on a lap of his own if that caution were to drop right now. And Wood Army not wasting any time. He's going to come down pit road so that he can get his services done. One of likely 2 pit stops here tonight. Shuffling back through, it looks like Taden Berggren gets around the one of Ewan Wood Army here. We're going to have to wait for the rest of the pitters to pit stop. But it looks like swap of the lead. Cooper Dwight gets the advantage through the green flag pit stops here tonight, shuffling himself up to the lead over the 43 of Taden Berggren. He was running second, and there we have the first caution of the night. And it worked its way right through all the green flag pit stops, luckily. So no harm, no foul for our pit stop takers. Green flag pit stops made it through. Let's figure out what this caution was for. Looks like it might have been a nasty one. Going into turn 1, you've got the 51 of Karashangle. Oh, that's Tim Cording. Maybe a little bit rusty on Cup side of things here. He comes right out in front of traffic, taking out the 17. The 42, your points leader. Brandon Butler, the second, with nowhere to go. He gets connected into that. Karashangle in the 51. And the 17 of Trevor Baton. Tough break. Yeah, tough break involved with your leader, points leader that is, here tonight. More than likely leaving here tonight without a points lead after that. So Cooper Dwight, your race leader after the green flag pit stops. This puts them in an opportunity to decidedly take another pit stop here if they'd like. We will see. As we're rolling around under caution here, let us go ahead and glance through the field here. Cooper Dwight, your race leader, over the 43 of Taden Berggren, who's led the majority of the laps so far here tonight. This will restack the field and give everyone a double shot restart to try and mix it up with the leaders. You and Wood Army, that's been your top three here tonight pretty much since the green flag dropped. Then you have Jacob Schengle up to 4th, Al Bunch in 5th. They're trying to keep the Washington winner streak alive. 9 winners from Washington of the 11 races that's been hosted here at Evergreen in Washington, nonetheless. Then you have Sebastian Torres, James Fireball Robert. That is Carson Bowers. We'll go ahead and give him the wave around. Lucky Dog, number 12 there. So retired from the race here tonight. The 54 machine of Tim Cording is knocked out. 51 of Kara Schengle out. The 42 points leader, Brandon Butler II, retired. 17 of, that would be, shoot, my brain's escaping me. 17 of Trevor Vaden out from an accident, and the 50 of Liz Schengle with a gearbox failure. No takers down pit road, which is not a big surprise, as they did just pit here recently, so not much shakeup there in the lineup from pit stops at all. Your leaders will reset the field here in another lap. Doubled up for the restart. We'll see who comes out on top between Cooper Dwight and Taden Berggren, or perhaps someone from behind will try to steal the show on the restart. Go. Lights are off on the pace car. We're going to get back and rolling here with 193 laps left to go. Alrighty, getting back and rolling here tonight. Taden Berggren has a shot to get back to the lead now as they're doubled up. Outside line's usually pretty quick to get rolling. Great start for both of them, getting up through the gears there. 41's got the inside line, but the 43 is going to try to carry the momentum. Here's the problem with cautions at Evergreen. they usually breed more cautions. So we got one caution out of the way. We might be rolling into more here tonight. And your lead battle there. Cooper Dwight edges out the 43 heading into turns 2. And on the exit there down the backstretch, the 41 builds a gap as Ewan Wood Army now on the inside of Berggren. Berggren with nowhere to go. He's going to start falling backwards pretty rapidly here if he can't get on that inside line. Here comes Al Bunch roaring into the picture. James Fireball Robert, the 95 machine, he's second in the points. He's going to walk away here tonight with the points lead more likely than not. Unless he makes a mistake, then it could still come out with Brandon Butler the second as your points leader here tonight, but not likely. Hayden Berggren dropping like a rock. So did the 60 of Jacob Shangle, who's now holding on for a top 10 where he was up in the top 5 just a brief moment ago. Makes a big move down inside the 43. Hayden Berggren still not able to find that inside line as everyone's charging around him here. There is your lead trio. It's Cooper Dwight over Ewan Wood Army, and now go ahead and sprinkle in Al Bunch, your number 1 driver from 2024 with 15 wins on the season and the championship to boot. It's been a slow start for Al Bunch this year, but just give him some time. He'll wake up and he'll be fighting tooth and nail for the championship once again. Of course, Al Bunch wants to become the first driver to actually get 2 wins at Evergreen. Every other driver has racked up. Well, no, I take that back. Dalton Scott has 2 wins here. Al Bunch would be looking to become the second driver to get 2 wins at this very unique track. Could happen. It's we're approaching the halfway point here tonight, and Al Bunch is looking stout. But so is Cooper Dwight and Ewan Wood Army, who are out there leading the way right now. Al Bunch in 3rd. Bradley Ream now up to 4th. Sebastian Torres in 5th. Jacob Shangle. Chad Hertenstein with a 7th place run. Chaz Chadwick. And finally, Hayden Berggren finds the inside line here, but falls all the way back to 11th. So a long ways to rebound from 11th there for Hayden Berggren on the struggle of a restart there. Well, it's going to take him some time to get back up to the lap traffic window that we had before that caution. Your 2 leaders, Cooper Dwight, Ewan Wood Army. There's even a smaller field to deal with now after that first caution took out about 5 of them. So 31 cars still running here tonight, 28 of which are on the lead lap. 3 drivers have fallen a lap down or worse here tonight so far. Whoa, what? How about, yeah, Chad Hertenstein, man. Keep an eye on that 21 machine. He seems to be a man on a mission here tonight. He's picked up probably the most track positions here. The hardest charger by far so far is this 21 machine of Chad Hertenstein. Sprinkle in a few more cautions and he may be in the mix for a win. You never know. Top 5, maybe a win. He had a 4th at Bristol after leading so many laps there and just came up short, unfortunately. So do not rule out this 21 machine to be a contender. It's going to help that there's at least one more pit stop along the horizon, that there may be another opportunity for a caution to befall the field. And keep an eye on the 21 of Chad. He could have something to prove here tonight. And don't sleep on any of these drivers, honestly. Jacob Shangle, Sebastian Torres, Bradley Ream, and Al Bunch. 2 drivers without a win, looking for win number 1 this season, running 3rd and 4th. And then, of course, Cooper Dwight, your Daytona 500 winner, and number 1 of Ewan Wood Army, the last short track winner here from North Wilkesboro. Halfway through, 169 laps in, 168 laps to go. We're tracking at nearly a 2-hour length race in total, so. Wood Army seems to be trying to make the move here on Cooper Dwight. Dwight holds the lead, but Wood Army seems to have the quicker car here. He's kind of moving up and down the race line here, trying to find an opportunity to make the pass. 41 is not making any mistakes, though, and keeps the one at bay behind him. But if we keep the cameras rolling, this battle could turn into a lead change before too long. Al Bunch not letting them get too far away either, as he's keeping it close to his chest for the battle here today. One more round of pit stops is ahead of these drivers, as the window is 150 laps and we still have 161 laps to go here. More than likely we'll see those last sets of pit stops coming around lap 260. That'll mark the halfway point well, that'll mark the point after their first round of pit stops at about 130 laps into that first run. 130 laps into this run put them at about 260 to 265. And that would put us in about an 80 lap shootout to the finish. Man, this is probably the lightest the Evergreen's been on cautions, I think, ever. One caution in the first half of the race is almost unheard of here at Monroe. But it just goes to show you that we've got 36 of the best Cup drivers out there fending for a race win here tonight. What Army's flirting with the idea of trying to get around the 41, but not able to find the opening yet. Seems to be faster than the 41. Just, you know, having that clean air is king here at the short track. You know what, Army better be careful messing around with the 41. He doesn't want to get on the outside of the 41, then get stuck on that high side and allow the likes of Al Bunch to get around him here. Here he is closing that gap again, but we've seen this multiple times now within the last handful of laps that he gets right there on the back bumper, just cannot do anything with it. Honestly, if they got side by side, that could help Al Bunch really close that gap a little bit harder and be fighting for the lead as well. But these two just kind of holding the hands at the moment, keeping it calm, and 41 maintaining that lead. And it's been so long since I've actually been to Evergreen Speedway in person. It probably been, man, feels like it's been at least 10 years since I've last been to this racetrack in person. Would be awesome to go back again sometime, watch the racing there. Local short tracks around here, they're few and far between, but what ones we do have often put on some great racing. And just like we're having here tonight, the NR2003 simulation through Sigma Cup, great racing action here at Evergreen in Monroe, Washington. And quite the short track battle, you know. Battle of wits, battle of determination, battle of strategy. And the best will come out on top here. Looks like the 64 gets shuffled outside. That's going to give an open door for the 60 of Jacob Shangle to try and get around him. 64 settles back into fifth, and the 21 at bay. But the Washington drivers, they're right there in the mix. Al Bunch in third, Jacob Shangle in sixth, and then Chad Hertenstein in seventh. Tatenberger, after leading all those laps, he's rebounded, coming back into the top 10 here. But definitely a far cry from where he once was, leading all the laps here today. Yeah, it's going to be hard to root against the likes of Al Bunch. He's going to be right there up until the very bitter end. And these drivers, they're going to have to figure out a way to keep him behind them. As I mentioned prior in the broadcast, the record for consecutive winners to start a season was 15 for 15 back in 2012. We're just 2 races shy from seeing that record tied. And of your leaders right now, Al Bunch and Bradley Ream would be first-time winners if they get through these top 2 that lead the way. Could happen. Very likely, very possible. Very high potential. Al Bunch has been holding on for a good run here tonight and just has to close it out with a little bit of luck on his side. Well, 201 laps in, 136 laps left to go. now. 130 laps left the distance here tonight. Cooper Dwight's been up front leading all these laps since that first caution. Laps led something a little bit like this. 69 laps now led by Cooper Dwight. Right there with the most laps led, 133 by Tayden Berggren. So that second round of pit stops more than likely will start around lap 265 here today. Probably stretch through about lap 270. That'd put you at about a 67 to 70 lap push to the finish here tonight. The big game changer will be those last round of pit stops. It looks like we do have some lap traffic ahead of our leaders here now as they're closing in on the 29 of Lewis Trost. Good run there from Ewan Wood Army, but is he going to have an opportunity to make it count? Only one caution tonight. It seems like we're overdue for more. As with 114 laps to go, they're just trying to reach the next fuel window to make their final pit stops here tonight. Cooper Dwight looking to maybe try and put up the battle for the most laps led here tonight. Him and Taden Bergeron have both racked up a bunch of laps led here. 87 to be exact for Cooper Dwight, 133 for Taden Bergeron. Between your three different leaders here tonight. So tonight at Evergreen, it's 337 laps the distance. Tomorrow night at Moses Lake Motorplex, it's going to be 337 miles the distance. For the Sigma Super 337, you're going to be running Moses Lake Motorplex for a grand total of 300 laps. The first ever points-paying race in the Sigma Cup Series at the home track of Sigma Racing. We hosted the All-Star race there last year where James Fireball Robert came out on top. But there's some new bragging rights in the mix now, and a field of some new rookies looking to try and make the start next week. The likes of Snake Plissken and Campbell Marsh, as well as Shy Turtle, who will be in the sprint qualifier trying to fight for the top 10 in the Squally to make the main event tomorrow night. So should be an exciting one. A couple of those drivers attempted to make the field here tonight, but just did not have the pace. The stakes were a little bit higher as there was only 6 cars making it in, and those heat races tonight were definitely stacked with a larger field of drivers that should have already been locked in to begin with. So because this track only has room for 36 stalls, we couldn't host a full 43 car field here tonight at Evergreen. Just one of the few tracks, actually the only track left on the schedule that's under 40 cars for the main entries here. We tried to stage it this point in the race in the season so it doesn't really spoil the party for anyone else that may miss the race here tonight. Definitely going to be some hard hits in the points for missing this one. But the top 30 in the point standings were already locked in, so they were safe from losing too many points here tonight. Top 30 other than your 32 charter drivers. Kind of a different, unique scenario here. Only at Evergreen that we do that. Well, 99 laps left to go after we hit lap 238 of 337 here tonight. Cooper Dwight still racking up those laps led. Could we see a third transition of the lead here tonight through the next round of green flag pit stops? Very much follow the leader affair here tonight. It's been hard to get around the leader once they get that lead. So that means once you get it, you're kind of king of the race field, like 41 is right now. Now as they're closing in on Ralph Oberstadt, this could give Wood Army a chance to fight for the lead now. Cooper Dwight still leads. Al Bunch a little bit distant there in third. Alrighty. 75 laps to go, and pit stops are underway for the second round of green flag pit stalls. I am so sorry that I am dozing off here in this race. Hopefully I wasn't snoring on the mic there. I am known to snore. And it looks like Cooper Dwight making his trip down pit road with 74 laps to go. I said that window would open about lap 265 to 270. Well, just a little bit sooner than that, 260 to 263. Staying out. Now your race leader. Looks like everyone's pitted, so it should shuffle back around here in another lap or two. Cooper Dwight had the race lead. Will he be able to maintain the advantage on the exit of the pit stop here? Keep an eye on the bottom left-hand corner. If there is any cautions that'll come out, it'll blink for a two right there next to the check. The yellow. Wow, man, I am hitting that hard wall, folks. The energy is just depleted. New race leader. '78 of Bradley Ream, seeking race win #1 this season. He gets around both You and What Army and Cooper Dwight to take over the top spot. And folks, let me remind you, that would be a 14th different winner in 14 races if, and I'm saying only if, Bradley Ream maintains this advantage in the closing 72 laps here tonight. How about that, though? You got Chad Hertenstein now up to third. Do not discredit him still. If we get a late race caution, he might be there knocking on the door for a win. 21 showed his muscle at Bristol. Here he is. Another short track, and he's basically flexing those same muscles again here tonight. Wow, Al Bunch lost a bunch of spots there on the pit stops. Went from third back to 10th, so tough break for Mr. Al Bunch. But how about that for Bradley Ream? Welcome in to the broadcast, Mr. Bunch. You had a good run going. You were third up until those green flag pit stops, and it dropped you all the way back to 10th, unfortunately. So tough break there. You're now fighting with Finley Herwig for 9th, Fireball Robert in 8th, Jacob Shangle in 7th, Sebastian Torres 6th. But it's Cooper Dwight who's leading all those laps. He led 126 laps here today, and unfortunately this last round of green flag pit stops dropped him out of contention at the moment. Meanwhile, it is Chaz Chadwick in 4th, Chad Hertenstein in 3rd, and Ewan Wood Army in 2nd as your race leader. Bradley Ream driving away the front of the field, looking to try and get Dodge Charger back to victory lane here this year. Last win we saw was with Eli the Wolf way back at the season opener at Armory Digital Super Speedway. It's been a tough go of it for the Dodge. Oh, actually, I take that back. Last week we just saw the 77 of Preston Kundo secure a win for Dodge. So Dodge starting to wake up at the right time here, getting it unraveled and figured out. As there's just 63 laps left to go, it's really getting down to the end of it here. Bradley Ream in his own driver-owner situation there with Railfan Motorsports, the 78 machine. Had a great rookie campaign last year, and he's looking to try and back that up with another successful run this year. Kind of crazy. All roads lead to Moses Lake tomorrow night, and we're right there knocking on the door of tying the record of different winners to start a season. First time since 2012 we've had this much parity. If Bradley Ream holds on here, and I'm not jinxing it yet because it looks like you and What Army trying to catch him here, but Chad Hertenstein also could still find a way to win this thing too. So Hertenstein without a win this year would be a new winner as well. Would stretch it to 14 different winners in the first 14 races. And next week we could try to tie that record at 15 for 15 that we last saw back in 2012. This short track race has definitely been an interesting one, as it's been a race won on pit cycles here tonight. Green flag pit stops have definitely decided the lead here tonight. Only one caution is really shook in the field here. Whoa, Chad Hertenstein just turned his quickest lap of the race, a 20.593. Not far off the fastest lap of a 20.584 that Tasha Wright turned. That last lap was a little bit slower for him. Jimmy Logano, lap traffic. Your leaders are about to deal with here. 57 laps left to go here at Evergreen for tonight's Boeing 337. Alrighty, 48 laps left to go. That's the distance here tonight. Only one caution seems to be all we're going to see here tonight. Short of the last push here, we might still see another one, but looking very unlikely as this thing has stayed pretty clean throughout the entire evening here. Faster laps are being turned by Ewan Wood Army. We know for a fact that the lead is such a huge advantage. Ewan Wood Army has not been able to pass when he gets right up there alongside the leader. So, short of something miraculous happening, Bradley Ream's probably going to walk away with this one. Stealing the win by Pit Strategy. Way up Pit Strategy here tonight to outbest some of the best drivers that have led all night here. Taden Berggren, of course, pole position, led most laps. He's going to fall by the wayside once again, as it seems to be a reoccurring trend for Mr. Berggren to lead the most laps from pole position and still fail to win the races. And we're looking at potentially race winner number 14 of 14, but Ewan Wood Army wants to try and squash that opportunity here tonight. He's caught right up to the back bumper of Bradley Ream. If Wood Army wins this, that streak would die here tonight in Evergreen. He's right there. He's in sight of Bradley Ream. Ewan Wood Army has not had the lead at all here tonight. He's been second fiddle just about the entire evening. He's led 2 laps though, and Bradley Ream up front for the tune of about 30 laps at the moment. The lap traffic, this is going to help close that gap for Chad Hertenstein, who's running in 3rd as well. There's some more lap traffic ahead of this, with Jimmy Logano running in 26th on the lead lap. He's trying to hold on, be the last car on the lead lap. Bradley Ream wants to get by him ASAP so that that one stops hounding him. Great run there by the one of Wood Army. He's caught right up to the back bumper of the 78. Is it going to be a bump and run from Wood Army? He gets right up there, very close for comfort. 78 of Bradley Ream holding out, holding on. Living on a prayer. That 78 machine just needs to keep the lead and close it out. Oh, and that's not good when he gets a little bit higher on the groove there. That gives the one a good push here. And 78's going to maintain the advantage, but man, for how long, that's the question. Man, Taden Berggren led most laps here today. It looks like he's going to come home 14th. Look at Chad Hertenstein's right there in the mix. They're going to try to go around the outside of the lap traffic here. That's not the best move to make, because now look at Chad Hertenstein's right there. Now we've got a 3-dog fight for the win, and they're still not around that lap car of Jimmy Logano. Yeah, this trio fighting for the win here tonight. Only one of them can come out on top. Chad Hertenstein has not led a single lap at all here tonight, but he's right there in the mix when it matters the most. All you got to do is lead that last lap. It doesn't matter about leading any other lap of the race. Find your way up there and win with one lap led. That's sometimes the best way to do it. Here comes What Army around Bradley Ream for the lead. This is going to sink Bradley Ream for a minute here, and Chad Hertenstein right there with him. Coming in on the inside of Bradley Ream. Ream's going to lose the lead. And now What Army looks to try and cancel out the parity train that has been going all since the first race of the season. But he's going to have to defend now on Chad Hertenstein, who's hungry to win in his rookie season. Bradley Ream tried to put in a valiant effort there and just not enough. Had to hold on for dear life to the cars that were just coming at him faster and faster every lap. So now for Chad Hertenstein, he's going to have to hope that Ewan What Army struggles getting around this 28 machine just as badly as Bradley Ream did. The laps are ticking away pretty quickly. What Army kind of sitting in the catbird seat. Hertenstein could make something work here. Another, streak on the line here. Washingtonians winning here at Evergreen. Chad Hertenstein wants to keep that trend alive. 10 for 11 different winners here at Evergreen, born from Washington State. Or 10 for 12, I guess. What Army actually looking like he might get around Jimmy Logano here. That might be the game changer. That might be the winning move if they can get around this 28. Bradley Ream was unable to make the move. But here we are. What Army struggling a little bit as well. The lap's ticking away quicker though, as Chad Hertenstein losing some ground to the number 1 machine. He's going to need to make a move and make it count here. One of these two drivers. Jimmy Logano is going to play spoiler here tonight, and it's going to help the likes of Chad Hertenstein and maybe even Bradley Ream to get back into this thing. What Army goes way high there, but that's not the right move. You need to go way low and get around the 28. Hertenstein's caught right up to the back bumper of that number 1 machine. The battle intensifies for the win here tonight at Evergreen. Something about Washington people racing at the Washington track. Could see it come to fruition once again here as Chad Hertenstein, against all odds, has found his way through the field. He's definitely had the fastest car. Car has Red Bull sponsoring on it. He's definitely had wings here today. Getting him up to the front, flying through the field here in the 21 machine. But 24 laps to go. He's going to need a perfect last stint of this race to make it happen. And maybe even a little bit of bump and run roughage to get around the number 1 machine of What Army here. He's driving the Toyota Supra there. That would make 7 of 8 manufacturers to go to victory lane if he can get around the 1 machine here and take home the win. He had a 3rd at Bristol. He definitely does not want to settle for a 2nd here tonight when he's got such a great car capable of winning the race. 22 laps to go. The 21 machine's right there. More lap traffic ahead of them on the horizon. Don't know if they're going to catch him and make much of a stink here. But that 21's, oh no, the 21's under attack by Bradley Ream. The last thing that Chad needed was a side-by-side battle here. We had a car pulling down the pit lane there. Engine damage. We will throw the caution for that. There is oil down on the track at the moment. So we'll get a late race restart here tonight. Oil down on the racetrack. They need to go out there and clean the surface up a little bit. gearbox for the 67. Gear lube all over the racetrack. Chaz Chadwick in the picture there, also winless this season. So what this does is allows a lot of the field to get doubled back up and fight for a win here tonight. One more opportunity to try and fight for the win, get it fair and square. 17 laps, not a whole lot of racing left in the night here, but definitely something could come of it. Alrighty, the lights are off on the pace car. It's going to be Ewan What Army and Bradley Ream resetting the race with 15 laps left to go. Bradley will have the outside, Ewan What Army on the inside, Chad Hertenstein and Chaz Chadwick in the second row, back behind them. We will see if it stays green or if cautions breed cautions this late in the race. Green-white checkers are enabled in case we need them here. We'll try to get it ended under regulation, at least one attempt or more if need be. Doubled up for the restart. Bradley Ream's going to get that highly advantageous outside line here. Ewan What Army on the inside. And I tried to drop the end of line for the 12, but he did not honor that. Hopefully they do not merge together into a 3-car wreck here, as they're kind of merged into each other at the moment. We're good. We're gold. Off and racing for what could be the last restart of the night. We will see. Bradley Ream on the outside, Ewan What Army on the inside. They're going to come charging into turns 3. And on the exit of turn 4, What Army's going to have the inside line advantage here. Bradley Ream will fight tooth and nail on the outside, though. What Army looking to become the first 2-time race winner this season. He gets around Bradley Ream pretty quickly there. Whoa, and what's going wrong with the one? Why did he go so low there? 78's got a good run here. That looked kind of off there by the one of What Army. He's holding on for now, but will the 78 be able to make a pounce? "12 laps to go." Wow, there's wrecks looking like all over the track waiting to happen. Well, keeping our eyes out there. And it looks like What Army has the advantage here, short of something crazy happening. Sigma officials are actually going to go ahead and throw the yellow here for debris. We'll go ahead and get one more restart here tonight. It'll be Ewan What Army and Bradley Ream once again with Chad Hertenstein and now James Fireball Robert in the second row back. We're going to have a 3-lap shootout to determine the winner here today. Rest of the field as follows from third on back. You got Chad Hertenstein, Fireball Robert, Cooper Dwight, Tyler Aspinall, Chaz Chadwick, Tayden Berggren, Sebastian Torres. Carson Bowers is multiple laps down. Luis Rodriguez in 10th, John Hagan in 11th, Al Bunch in 12th. 13th, it's Preston Kundo. 14th, Wyatt Wilkinson. 15th, Tom Cording. 16th, Finley Herwig. Then it's Craig the Void. Kellen Relic in 18th. 19th, it's Lucas Holmes. 20th, Jimmy Logano. 21st, Brian DeBlanc. 22nd, Lynn Farrell. 23rd, Tyler Shangle. 24th, Tasha Wright. 25th, Ralph Obersat. 26th, Monty Shangle. And 27th, Braden Varga. So it's going to try to end under regulation here. It'll be a green, white checkered, basically. They'll double up right here, heading into turn 3. Bradley Ream on the outside, Chad Hertenstein on the inside, right behind your race leader, Ewan What Army. One more shot at it tonight. Whatever happens, happens at this point. You've got what you've got. You got to show it or you got to lose it. Rolling to the restart zone, Bradley Ream on the outside. Good start by both of them. What Army gets the advantage there pretty quickly. Bradley Ream, wow, he's going to fall way out of line here. The one of What Army starts to bridge the gap. Bradley Ream moves onto the inside as quickly as possible, though. It's going to be 2 laps to go this time by. Short of a caution. If we get a wreck here, brings out a caution, we might go to green-white checkers. They're clean through the turns. White flag this time by. 1 lap to go at Evergreen Speedway. Bradley Reams right there behind Ewan What Army. What Army is going to break the trend here tonight. 337 laps of racing, 2 wins this year. Chad Hertenstein wants to get up to second. Washington driver, unfortunately, is going to be denied the race win here tonight. Chad Hertenstein comes home second. Your race winner, though, win number 2 on the season. Ewan What Army finally sinks the parity train full blown here tonight. What Army with win number 2, the number 1 on top yet again for the second time this season, both of which came at a short track race. Chad Hertenstein with a second place and Bradley Ream with a third. The rest of the field just bringing it home with what they had here by the end of the Evergreen race here tonight. Led most laps for Taden Bergeron from pole position, and he falls back to 11th. Very possible. The 78 did maybe run out of fuel at that last stretch of the race there. It's kind of weird how he was running second and all of a sudden dropped backwards. But there is the results here tonight. Ewan What Army, Chad Hertenstein, Cooper Dwight, Bradley Ream, Fireball Robert, your points leader now. Chaz Chadwick, Sebastian Torres, Preston Kundo, John Hagan, and Tom Cording. Taden Bergeron, Craig the Void, Luis Rodriguez, Al Bunch, and Lucas Holmes, followed by Tyler Aspinall, Brian DeBlanc, Wyatt Wilkinson, Tyler Shangle, Ralph Oberstadt, Lynn Farrell, Finlay Herwig, Monty Shangle, Kellen Relic, and Tasha Wright, with Braden Varga, Jimmy Logano, Carson Bowers, Jacob Shangle, Lewis Trost, and Alex Crowther, Tim Cording, Kara Shangle, Brandon Butler II, Trevor Vaden, and Liz Shangle. Finishing up the order there. Race 14, 13 for 13, and it comes to an end here tonight on race 14. First 2-time winner of the season is officially Ewan What Army for LFG Motorsports Honda. He had to defend some advances there at the end. He definitely had his work cut out for him, and the debris caution at the end there was kind of an add-on for drama, it felt like. Sigma officials wanted to see one more stab at it, and unfortunately Bradley Ream did not have anything to show for, and quite frankly must have ran out of gas on that last corner of the race there, giving Chad Hertenstein overall second place finish here today. A third and a second from Chad. Could that be an omen for tomorrow night at Moses Lake Motorplex? A third, second, and maybe a race win. Although the parity train comes to a close, it doesn't mean we could still see 41 different winners this year. It would be crazy. And it would be an oddity to have just one driver with 2 wins on the season. So we'll keep our eyes on that. What new drivers are yet to win. There's still plenty of drivers that are capable of winning that could get more wins added on. So I guess Ewan What Army is based out of California. So still another West Coaster getting the job done at Evergreen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's LA that he's based out of. So not bad, especially since our other West Coaster driver was Kevin Harvick. The odd duck was definitely the year we had Formula One driver oh man, my brain's fried here at the end of the night. Fernando Alonso, that's who it was that won the other race. So Fernando's really the furthest not Washington, not West Coast based driver to win there at Evergreen. Well folks, that is a wrap here tonight. Another race in the books, 14 deep, with 28 races left to go, 1/3 of the way. Moses Lake Motorplex tomorrow is going to be up for grabs. The first ever points paying race. Someone is going to get the win there and have bragging rights for becoming the first ever winner at the home for Sigma Racing in a Sigma Cup event. So hopefully y'all can tune in for that one tomorrow night. Sprint qualifier will precede the main event just as this one should have been tonight. But other than that, folks, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. Stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.